So it crashed the whole computer. Um, uh, yeah. So it crashed the whole computer. I am going to, um, I'm going to load it back up because my computer, I think, just wasn't happy about doing that. So I'm going to play this in 1080p instead of trying to play it in 1440p just because I don't think it was happy trying to render all that shit at once. Um, and we're going to see if we can come back from this. But yeah, the computer completely locked up. I think it may have been pushed a little too hard. So yeah, we are going to restart the game. Where is it? Where are you, Star Trek? So we're going to go into the settings, and I'm going to crank it lower. Properties. Okay. So settings. We are going to push it down to 1080p. Let's see, we're going to full screen it. Let's see if it's one of those games that screws up when I full screen it. Yes, it is. So, and we will maximize the window, and I will play it windowed. Let's see here. I was not happy about that aspect ratio. Okay, so it cuts off like right there. And we got a little bit of blank spot on the side. Make this a little bigger. Okay, so we're gonna try this. Because yeah, that was a full computer lockup. I'm going to see if it will actually run at 1080p. It seems less loud. It was pushing hard when I was doing this in 1440 on my own end. All right, let's see if we can have this go.
You'll have to forgive me. I don't know much about Kobleods. But
Sorry, I'm just adjusting it for my own view.
a supply of duridium to keep your cell structure stabilized, or bad things start to happen. And we have plenty of duridium in sickbay, so there's no risk of running out.
Thank you.
Sorry, if it gets a little jank for a bit, I'm trying to adjust it for myself here.
And help yourself to whatever you like from the replicator.
Yeah, I think it was just not happy about running a 1440p game while streaming. Because I can't even hear the fan now. So yeah, I think it was just unhappy about running a 1440p game while streaming.
The first mineral Captain Solano ever discovered.
Because I actually think I hit a
Always
power
was the nostalgic
requirement.
type.
Jara Rydek. Last time I saw you, it was graduation from the academy. You'd already secured one of the most prestigious assignments possible. And you were burning with enough ambition to fuel 7 trips around the Necrid Expanse.
It's good to see you again, Captain.
I could not be happier to have you on the Resolute. My only regret is that we couldn't provide you with a warmer welcome. The arrival of a first officer to her new ship deserves a bit of fanfare. But, unfortunately, we've had our hands full with the refit.
That would be totally unnecessary. I don't need any pomp and circumstance.
But yeah, Retro Toaster, how you doing? Thank you for the
I like it.
telling people that I crashed, basically.
We've had a rough go of it these last 6 months. The ship suffered some damage, but not nearly as much as the crew.
You'll have to forgive me. I don't really know the details.
Starfleet has been kind enough to keep the story contained, probably because they want to protect me. But I don't mind telling you. We were on the verge of a major scientific breakthrough. A quantum leap forward in warp core technology. 10,000 teradynes per second. The ability to travel at a sustained rate of speed longer and faster than we ever dreamed. What would have been the crowning achievement of my career? Right there. Within our grasp.
Oh yeah, it's way quieter.
Until it all went so horribly wrong. We pushed her too hard, and a warp core malfunction overloaded the system.
Does this game seem interesting is my question to you.
Beyond what the ship could handle. It was heartbreaking. We lost some of our best people. As captain, I have to take full responsibility. It was my decision to make, and I have to live with the consequences.
We all know the risks when we sign up. There are no guarantees. As much as we tell ourselves otherwise.
True. But as captain, my job is to mitigate and manage the risks as much as possible. And that's where I failed. In my defense, I will say, I might have avoided the whole ordeal if my senior staff had been willing to trust me. There was a lot of pushback from my former XO, and I think that cost me his confidence. I don't want you to pull any punches. Certainly not on my account. But once we decide on a course
Maybe
of
I should
action,
put a more
I need
powerful
everyone to fully commit to the mission.
power supply in this computer now that I've upgraded the
Anything
CPU.
short of that just won't work. And that's when things start to go sideways.
Whether I agree or disagree, I can promise that I'll be honest to a fault.
Good. That's exactly what I'm looking for. But at the end of the day, it has to be my call. Look, I'll be blunt. We can't afford another mistake. Or at least, I can't. I feel like my career is hanging in the balance here.
I want to see if I can use his replicator to get some tea and see if that uncrashes, if that crashes it again.
I understand.
On a more positive note, Starfleet has tasked us with what they're calling a mission of the highest priority. Escorting a senior diplomat to Hotari space. 2 previously peaceful and otherwise non-aggressive civilizations now find themselves on the brink of all-out war.
So it's a peacekeeping mission.
I see it as a golden opportunity to not only prove what the Resolute and her crew are truly capable of, but also a mission for which we're uniquely qualified. This ionic storm. Our long-range sensors suggest it's several orders of magnitude stronger than anything on record. A total anomaly like nothing we've seen before. And you'll never guess where it leads.
The Delta Quadrant.
Exactly. Very nearly in the precise location where we're headed. Where I imagine the interference will be exponentially greater. But the diplomat will brief us on the details at the rendezvous.
Who is the senior diplomat we're escorting?
That I don't know. Starfleet hasn't said.
I wonder if it's going to be somebody from an actual show.
I expect we'll have some rough sledding when we arrive, so I need you to prepare the crew for the worst. There's just one more thing I want to clarify up front. The metric that for me will be the ultimate measure of your success.
What is it?
If after serving as my first officer, you don't one day find yourself with a ship of your own, then I will consider it my personal failure. When that might happen is entirely up to you. But it goes without saying, you have my full support.
It's been a dream of mine since before I can remember. So I would.
Yeah,
be
it definitely
honored
sounds
to
much
become
more
a
happy
captain
to be
someday.
running
As
at
long as you're
1080p.
willing to do the work, you have my promise. I'll do everything in my power to see that it happens.
Thank you.
Come, let me introduce you to the crew.
Yeah, now that's giving me back control. I'm just gonna lock the location of this. We go in the webcam filter, edit filter. We want color correction. We actually want to bring back up the saturation. Then we want to take the hue shift a little back. All right, that looks a little better. I swear, every time I'm in this, I'm doing something, I feel like it slightly gives me a different hue in this room, even though it's the same light, like same chair, same spot. It's weird. Just trying to see if you're seeing more than I am on here. Nah, I think we're good. Not going to try and stretch the window. It's being weird.
Everyone, if I could have your attention for a moment. I'd like to introduce Commander Jara Rydek, our new first officer.
This is
Quick
making me want
introductions.
to
This is Lieutenant Handar, our helmsman, one of the best in the
put a more
business.
powerful power supply in my
Why not?
computer.
Well, what he lacks in humility, he more than makes up for in ability.
A pleasure to meet you, Commander.
Likewise.
Next, we have Commander Westbrook, our chief science officer. I've come to rely on his expert counsel on a regular basis.
I am Commander Grumpy Face.
Commander Rydek, it is such an honor to meet you.
This is our tactical officer, Lieutenant Bedrosian, who's been looking forward to meeting you for about as long as I can remember.
I've been following your career for quite some time, and I look forward to learning as much as I can from you.
I like how she's just
That's
like,
very kind of you to say. I'm happy to be here.
that's very
But
kind
I
of you.
have to admit, one of the reasons I've followed your career is because you're part Kobliad, because of what you've overcome. Starfleet stands up for people who can't defend themselves, and you were one of those people once. But since then, you've done so much to protect others who need it. I really admire that. So, you've been something of an inspiration to me. Not that I've done anything close to what you've done, but you definitely set a standard to strive for.
I do like how she just
I
blank
know what to
stares.
say. That's incredibly flattering. Thank you.
I hope someday I can follow in your footsteps.
I'm sure you will.
And then, of course, you've already met Commander Ermont. Please, do everything you can to make Commander Rydek feel at home here. I'll be on the starbase. I have an urgent meeting with the
I always thought
Starbase
those
commander
chairs
to
with the
get our
giant hole in them
authorization to get underway.
would just like feel uncomfortable on the
Drag our
back.
feet any longer, we won't make our rendezvous. The bridge is yours.
All right. Helmsman, set a course for the center of the galaxy, right into a black hole.
Communications keeps us in contact internally and with other vessels. So many decks, full of crew that are now my responsibility.
So, Retro Toaster, what happened when the
Mission won't require we
when my
use our
computer
weapons much,
crashed?
but if it comes to that,
Because it just went black for
we'll
me.
be ready. Science station. The Resolute is a science vessel, primarily. Might explain Commander Westbrook's attitude. I'll have to speak with him later. The helm. The Resolute is a refitted Centaur class.
Centaur
meaning it's
class?
capable of quick maneuvers. Can't wait to see what she can do.
Okay, yeah, my computer completely straight up black screen, locked up. I had to press the reset button on it.
Commander, Chief Engineer Chovak needs to lower the structural integrity field. He's sent a crew out to recalibrate the emitters in response to the danger posed by the storm. We just need your go-ahead.
Permission granted.
Lowering structural integrity field, now.
Entering maintenance mode. Condition blue.
That doesn't sound good. I do love the little, like, episode things like
Great.
that.
Let's get to that emitter.
I'm such a frickin' Star Trek geek. Awkward walking. Take one awkward step at a time. Must walk as awkwardly as possible. Must not put down right foot. Ugh. Eh.
Every time we're out here, I half expect to see her in pieces again.
Okay.
She's still got some scars on her. It adds character.
This game's definitely
When
got
I
some
joined
jank
Star,
to it.
All I wanted was a ride out of town. But this isn't exactly how I pictured it.
On the outside of the ship?
No. Sometimes it feels like we're just part of the machinery. Don't you want more than that? I mean, Starfleet is noble and all, but it's still a machine. A massive, massive machine.
Yeah, of course I do. Starfleet's an open door. We just have to walk through it.
I like how she's still got perfect hair in
I
there.
wanted to get away. I enlisted because I didn't want to wait years just to get out and see the galaxy. I wanted to go somewhere, see new worlds, look up at a sky no one's ever seen before.
But I would love to have
Just 'cause I'm cranking
a
out
second
Spanner
computer
up
to where I
Jeffries
could
today
not
doesn't
worry
mean
about
that's
things
all
like
right
that,
for
where
me.
it just crashes.
Diaz to Commander Chovak. We are at the SIF emitter.
Acknowledged. You may proceed with the recalibration.
I swear the plus symbol looks like it wants me to use like left stick and D-pad and right trigger. I know that's not what it wants, but it looks like that.
Beginning recalibration.
Oh no, hand has gotten wiggly. Woo! Oh no, I've come down with the wiggly arms. Wiggly arm time.
Careful. Too much action and harmonics will deflect the alignment.
That's good.
I do like that I can give him wiggly arm.
Commander Westbrook, right? Chief Science Officer.
You remembered my name and my rank. Impressive.
I thought your name was Commander Douchebaggins.
Yes, I am the Chief Science Officer, and I have the dubious honor of being the most senior officer on this bridge. I know this ship inside and out. Better than just about anyone.
What a very impressive list of credentials.
This is a research and discovery ship, first and foremost. Now with a former tactical officer as its new first officer. I'm curious, though. A Kobliad, or half in your case, is an odd choice for first officer, given your vulnerable condition and all.
Racist much?
As an example, we found ourselves in a hostile situation, and you were suddenly incapacitated because you needed an infusion. What would happen then? You'd leave Captain Solano without an XO. Granted, that would be a worst-case scenario, but not outside the realm of possibility.
That's very kind of you to be concerned about my well-being. But you don't need to trouble yourself on my account. I'll be fine.
Well, I wouldn't say I was concerned, just curious, that's all.
Oh, sure. I can see you trying to step on my toes.
Listen, can I be blunt, Commander?
I see no reason to stop now.
Commander Sutherland, your predecessor, was one of the best first officers in all of Starfleet. His record was impeccable and his reputation was without equal. I mean no disrespect, but the shoes you're stepping into are almost impossible to fill. He was loved by the crew. And he was one of my closest friends. So I can only hope that you'll live up to expectations.
I don't think I could ever replace Commander Sutherland. And it would be a mistake to even try.
Feel guilty there, Captain Douchebag.
Seeing as Captain Solano is on the starbase, let me give you an update on this ion storm we're flying into. It's unusual. Unlike anything I've ever seen.
Okay.
At the moment, I can't tell you if the Resolute will shrug it off or if we're putting ourselves at risk. However, if we learn more about its patterns, its nature, we can come up with a scientific countermeasure. Just a moment.
The lighting effects in this are fantastic. As I said, I think my computer needs more power now that I put a better CPU in it.
We've got a massive energy wave inbound.
On screen.
Tracing its trajectory.
Starbase docking clamps are holding.
The storm's emissions are fluctuating, coming in waves. And if my
I'll have to look
projections
into
are right,
that.
we're about to get hit by a wide-band burst of ionic energy, like a tsunami.
I'm reading power abnormalities all over the ship.
Estimated time.
Red alert.
Aye.
I wonder if I just didn't react if we'd get fucked right there.
Evacuating main gangway and retracting.
Putting sensor visualization on screen.
With the structural integrity field shut down, we can't take a direct hit.
Time to impact. 1 minute.
Shield systems are severely impacted. We have limited protection.
I need every available solution. What are our options?
We can weaken the impact of the storm with a deflector pulse.
There's a better way.
I'm sending all auxiliary power to the deflector dish.
Send the aux power to the shields. We can't reactivate the entire shield bubble, but it's a directional threat. So we can orient all we have towards the wave. You have to believe me.
We only get one shot at this. We can't afford to get it wrong.
That's right, which is why we need to send power to our shields.
Petrosian, get those shields up.
Rerouting power to shields. Stand by. I need
Well,
a
let's
head
see
in.
what we get out of
We
this.
got one shot.
Understood. On my command.
Heading locked.
Raise shields.
This is it.
All hands, brace for impact.
See what that does.
What happened?
We have experienced a surge of radiation.
Oh, you don't say.
This radiation supercharged the plasma, forcing it to backflush through the system and creating a dangerous imbalance.
Blow out every primary system on the ship.
Just tell us where you need us.
I need you to traverse the hull to the
I
access
love that
point
it's switching me back and
calibrate the
forth,
port
though.
cell plasma regulator.
We've reached the first access point.
Understood. Do you see the override for the level 1 failsafe circuits?
Affirmative.
Okay.
Engage the override. It should allow us to stop the EPS flow to the warp engine without triggering an automatic core shutdown.
Pull the thingies. Flip the thingamajig.
Failsafe override engaged.
Are you sure? I am registering some crosstalk in the bypass circuit.
We need to route the signals so they don't interfere with each other.
Okay. How do we do that? Grab the isolinear. What is that? Okay. Need to remove the isolinear chip. And put the isolinear chip over here. And then put the orange isolinear chip right there.
Diaz to Resolute. The failsafes are temporarily disabled. Moving on to the EPS regulator.
Heads up, Carter.
What is that?
One of the discharges coalesced.
It's coming right toward us. I'm gonna try to disrupt it with my phaser.
Okay, we fired the pew-pew.
We gotta climb up the pylon. Not that there's really an up, but, you know.
Oh, he's so waddly with his phaser out. Suddenly a third-person shooter.
We're almost to the regulator.
We're at the regulator. Opening the access panel.
And of course, you just shoot
Now
things.
halting the EPS flow to the port nacelle. We have little time before it causes an overload of the engine. You must work efficiently.
Pull the chunkies. I'm wondering how I would even do this with the mouse.
EPS manifold adjusters reset to neutral.
Oh, it doesn't let me have flaily arm.
The EPS lines to the port warp engine are back in balance. Almost done. Once
I enjoyed flaily arm. It's still pretty. It just, I had to crank it down a little bit to make it not completely, like, crash my computer.
Get down!
Like how they're like,
It's the bridge. We just lost the docking clamp.
we're gonna die.
We've got a lot of debris coming down. All vibrations, too. We can't finish the EPS regulation in these conditions. Please advise.
We have to release this ship from that other docking clamp or the hull will be ripped apart.
There's a problem. The clamps are supposed to disengage automatically in an emergency, but it's not working.
Not working.
What are our options?
The docking clamps are fitted with exploding bolts.
Does
for
she
an
just not
emergency release.
have suggestions?
Crew out there. That'd be like setting off a bomb next to them.
Maybe there's another way.
Starbase is hailing us. Put him through.
Resolute, the remaining mooring arm is failing. You need to disengage from the starbase now. The damage to the station will be catastrophic.
We have crew outside and are looking for
We
the
have
safest
people
way to...
on this station. If that mooring arm breaks, we could lose dozens of crew.
Commander, hear me out.
Okay.
Reverse the polarity of the hull, which theoretically will repel the docking clamps.
And repel the engineering crew right off the hull into the storm.
This is Captain Solano. Put me on screen.
Go ahead. Captain, we have a situation.
Commander, what are you doing? Blow the bolts on the docking clamp.
The captain doesn't know the whole story.
I'm giving you an order. Jara?
All due respect, sir, it's a more complex situation than when you
Jara,
disembarked.
I need you to do the right thing. We can't have this go sideways before we even leave for the mission.
Why are you so cranky all of a
Captain
sudden?
made himself quite clear.
They're gonna get hammered with debris out there. Reverse the polarity.
There is protocol.
And there are lives.
What is the holdup?
Starbase, stand by. We're gonna flip hull polarity to disengage the clamps.
Yes, Commander.
Okay, Captain Cranky.
Repair crew, this is Acting Captain Jara Rydek. Be advised, we are going to reverse hull polarity to free us from the remaining docking clamp. Tether yourself and deactivate your boots on my mark.
Understood.
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Mark!
Grab my hand!
Could I have gotten this character killed already?
Thank you.
Plasma imbalance is reaching critical condition. We are moments from primary system failure.
I got it.
Go crankety thing. Yeah, why is this difficult? It's like, I can help you with my tiny hands. Use clunk hands.
Look out!
Is she just dead in there? Okay.
Officer Edselar's hurt and unconscious. I'm gonna have to tow her back to the airlock.
Mr. Diaz, the situation has changed. You are at risk of triggering a substantial electromagnetic arc if you approach the main hull the way you came.
But Commander, the way we came is the nearest airlock.
There is an auxiliary hatch near you on the far end of the pylon. You must bring Miss Edselar there to access the interior.
That sounds good.
Roger that. Going there now.
All right, let's walk.
I'm at the auxiliary hatch.
How did she just like come to like that?
You go first.
What?
Let me save your neck this time. No time to fight me on this. Get in there.
Not on your life.
Let's not let it come down to that.
It almost did, so get in your hole. Oh no, he was hit with the zappies. Not the zappies.
We made it.
They're safe. Bringing the SIF fully online.
Do it.
I mean, we succeeded, even though it was not how the captain wanted.
Nilly.
I'm good. Help me with him.
Is character unconscious?
Let's get this off.
Oh no, he's got fractals.
Got one wounded at my location. Carter. You don't look so good.
Bring the hover scooter.
You gotta be more careful. I just got here. I'm not ready to see you two get blown to space dust just yet. Now let's get you down to sickbay.
Great.
Is that Jennifer Hale? It really, really sounds like it.
Status report.
The repair crew made it inside. EPS flow is back to nominal levels. The SIF is back up.
How does this affect mission readiness, Mr. Ermot?
Releasing the docking clamps using hull polarity minimized damage to the Resolute. We'll have some last-minute repairs to make, but if we reapportion some of the staff, we can make our departure on time.
Sounds good.
As of now, however, we are successfully moored to the station.
Good to hear. Send updates to my ready room. Commander Rydek, with me.
All right, if you're gonna chastise me for disobeying you but getting it done right, what the hell?
You disobeyed my orders. Well?
Respectfully, Captain, I made the right choice given the information
You
I had at...
disobeyed my orders! And not just in front of the bridge crew, but the Starbase staff as well.
So you were wrong.
It's going to get around. My name's already tarnished around the fleet. But what is it going to do to my credibility on this ship?
You were wrong.
From the top to the bottom. Bridge to lower decks.
Captain, I told you I'd be honest, so here it is. Maybe I shouldn't have disobeyed a direct order, but you were wrong. You weren't on board, and you didn't have all the information. So I made the right decision for the ship. If you're worried about your credibility, put your ego aside and trust your crew. Trust me.
You might have won some fans on the bridge with that stunt.
It was successful.
Not everyone. Lieutenant Commander Chovak has already bent my ear.
I'm sure he doesn't take it personally. He'll get over it in time.
Mr. Chovak is more complicated than he would want.
He's got a choo-choo.
I guess we all are. And if I'm being honest, I'm not sure what I would have done in the moment either. You never really know if you weren't in those shoes. So, let's just boil it down to you did what you had to. That'll have to be good enough for me.
Thank you for understanding, sir. I'm sure no one knows the burden of command as well as you do.
I'm sure you will, someday.
I'm glad he still respects me on that.
Despite it all, we got our final Starfleet clearance to depart. So if you'll fetch Mr. Ermot, we'll knock out the final details of any outstanding repairs, and then we'll set out for Hotari.
Yes, sir.
Just double checking something on here. Just a sec. Making sure everything's working. Okay. Do. All right. That looks good. All right, cool. Just double checking one thing. All right, we're good. I was just making sure everything was right. Let's see. Lieutenant Brosden admired Jara's instincts to protect the crew when Starbase ordered her to disengage the docking clamps, and she thought highly of Jara's efforts to explain the complexity of the situation to Captain Solano. And she was relieved when Jara defied Captain Solano's orders and made her own command decision in the moment. Just looking through all this stuff here. Okay, cool.
All departments reporting full mission readiness.
Stretching spine. Pop,
We've
pop,
got our
pop.
full complement on board.
This is my favorite moment, right now.
The start of a new mission is always full of possibility.
The Orion Syndicate could sell it as a drug.
They're still around?
Don't let the Admiralty hear you say that.
Captain on the bridge.
Sit. Sit, everyone.
Sit. Stay.
You all know, I'm not big on speeches. We're embarking on the first mission since our refit. Let's make it a good one. Disengage docking clamps.
Can we this time?
Docking clamps released.
Thrusters ahead, Mr. Handar.
I like the little tee-doo-doo-doo, tee-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. Yeah, I'm guessing that my computer just couldn't handle all that and was requesting more power than the power supply was willing to give.
That should do it. Set a course for the Hotari system. Prepare to go to Warp 8.
Aye, Captain.
You know what? You take this one.
Me? Helm. Make way.
Helm, go vroomity vroom vroom vroom. Zoom zoom vroom vroom.
Make way.
It's a sailing term.
I know that.
Easy.
Thank you. I'm fine. Really,
You don't look so good.
Okay, why?
I have to get to sickbay.
Go.
Commander, help me get her inside.
How did she live that long if she's that physically unstable? IV, I'm assuming?
Well, that was quite a scare. A few minutes more and it would have been one of the shortest tenures on record for a first officer.
Is that the engineer that was out on the hull?
That storm did a real number on him, but he'll live. Just needs rest. You should worry about yourself. Your duridium levels got dangerously low and destabilized your cell structure.
This is definitely one of the more memorable first days I can think of.
How old is this woman?
My name is Dr. Aram Duval, Chief Medical Officer. To be honest, I've never met a Kobliad before. You're...
Rare. I know.
I was going to say special. Your people's numbers have dwindled, despite the Federation's efforts to find a more readily available alternative to the duridium you need to survive. Yet you joined Starfleet
So,
and managed to thrive. I imagine the responsibility must be overwhelming.
again, why does she not have an
Maybe
injector?
even a burden at times.
I don't like the attention it brings. Being treated differently than everyone else.
But you are different. That's not something you can change.
True. But sometimes it makes it even more difficult than it already is.
And don't worry, I won't treat you like a science experiment. I just do the science and leave the experiments to Solano.
Okay.
You don't agree with his methods?
I don't agree with his definition of acceptable risks. Not when the lives of your crew are at stake.
I agree with you.
My professional opinion is that the accident took a toll. More than he's willing to admit. He's overstressed, operating in the pressure cooker of his own mind. Which is never a good headspace when the lives of your crew are at stake. What concerns me is that now he's even further away from the thing he's been chasing his entire career.
Which is?
Breakthrough discovery. The major innovation. Something he can put his name on. But the more the time passes and the further out of reach it gets, the more risk he'll be willing to take. People become blinded by their own ambition. I've seen it happen before.
I hear you. But that's my job, isn't it? To make sure that doesn't happen. And we don't lose sight of the bigger picture.
Which is exactly why I'm so glad you're here. We need you now more than ever. And I have to give you credit for what happened on the bridge. It took guts to defy a direct order.
Yeah, because it was a bad order.
I guess word travels fast around here.
It's a small ship. And everyone's curious about the new XO. Fortunately, your cell structure is almost completely stabilized. And I'll spare us
Almost completely?
I do feel it's my responsibility to remind you, without regular infusions of duridium, you will not live. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
Understood.
And my work here is done.
I just don't understand how this woman would have lived to this age, whatever her age is, without, like,
Lieutenant
a built-in
Pedrosian.
injector.
I came to see if you were okay.
Like, basically a replicator
We
stuck
were
to
all
her
pretty
arm that
worried
injects
on
her
the
at all
bridge.
times.
No one knew what was happening.
I'm feeling much better. Thank you. It's just part of who I am.
You don't have to explain to me. I understand. I'm just glad you're okay. You trusted me earlier with the shields, and I appreciated that.
Yeah.
I want you to know that I have your back.
It was the right call.
Thank you.
Now, Carter, the emissions that gave you that burn are quite unusual, like everything else that goes with this storm.
You were left with little
Combination
Scary.
of pyronolin and lectrazine to counter the radiation effects. That should help speed your healing. She's come by a couple of times to see you already. Be brief.
I forget what
Good
those
to see you awake again.
bars mean.
I was starting to get worried. Not that you aren't in good hands with Dr. Duvall. You did take one hell of a shot, though.
I hear you've been checking in on me.
Hey there, Retro Toaster. Talkity.
Security rotation. Lots of opportunities to walk by sickbay and stop in.
But how you doing?
Millie was looking in on you too, by the way. But since it's just us right now, I had a chance to think about this while I was away. And I thought it was important that I just come out and tell you. Instead of tiptoeing around it. Or worse, leaving it unsaid.
Wait, are you angry at me or something?
Oh, no, not that. I'm sorry. I'm probably making too big of a deal here.
Okay, she's got 2. So do I.
What I'm trying to say is, we've been really good friends for a long time.
Sorry for being quiet. Got an interview to prep for today. Gonna be lurking a fair bit. Yeah, I kind of expected that this game was going to be a little bit of a, not the biggest success as far as stream, but I've had it in my games for a while and I felt like playing it. So
I got back here
I'm doing
and I couldn't ignore it anymore. I want to see if there's more between us than just being friends.
You don't have to explain it. I feel the same way. There is something between us.
So, do you want to find out what that something is? If it's there for you, and it's there for me, why not give it a try?
Let's go to the Jeffries tubes right now.
I just said yes.
I wanted to be sure I heard that right.
Sorry to interrupt, but the patient needs to rest if he wants to get back to his old self.
Of course. I'll see you again soon.
I swear it sounds like Jennifer Hale. Okay, is it Jennifer Hale? This is driving me crazy. Okay, is this Jennifer Hale? What's her name? What is her name? It doesn't tell me. Okay. What is the name of this game? Star Trek Resurgence. Does it give me any actors of who's in this? It really bugs me on this. Like, I swear it sounds like her. Okay. Jennifer Hale's not in the cast. That's what I wanted to know.
Approaching the rendezvous point outside Atari space.
Helm, bring us out of warp.
Dropping to impulse.
I like how it's just a random Bajoran as the helmsman. That's great. Bonk.
We can take it.
We are at the correct coordinates to meet the shuttle.
Commander Rydek, find us our diplomat, if you will.
Aye, Captain. Let's reduce the noise. Filter out environmental signals. I can manually tune what's left for Federation signal types. I've located the shuttle.
Opening comms.
Okay.
On screen.
Shuttle to Resolute. Shuttle to Resolute. Debris field. Lost maneuvering.
Excelsior?
Can't get it any clearer.
We won't get a transporter lock. It's just not happening.
Power up the tractor beam. We'll pull them directly into the docking bay.
Sounds good.
Diaz, you good to run the tractor emitter?
Yes, sir.
You sure?
Literally just like sends a tractor out in space, just like thunk.
Come on, Diaz. First thing, lock onto the shuttle and stabilize the rotation.
All right. No longer spinning.
We're pulling in debris.
I'm on it.
There we go. Get it?
That's gonna take out the shuttle. Diaz, the bridge. There's a large piece of debris headed for the shuttle. The tractor beam can't handle it.
Can our shields take it?
I believe so.
Commander Rydek, plot an intercept course.
On it.
Okay.
Maneuvering thrusters bearing 53 Mark 17, 200 meters on an intercept course.
Maneuvering.
Drive the vroom vrooms.
Got it.
Whoa. Someone's working hard on the bridge.
It's like, yes, let's just ram it. It's like, pull it in through the vroom vrooms. Like how it's just like, thunk.
We've got the shuttlecraft on board.
Good job. We're on our way down to meet them.
What is this guy's rank anyway?
Terra firma, so to speak.
Ambassador Spock.
It's almost as if it's the guy who I have in there talking about Laserdisc.
Right down to meet you, sir.
In that case, I will wait for him here.
We can talk about ABBA together. We can even describe what we have been chatting with the beeping rock. Beep, 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 beep.
Apologies for the landing, Ambassador. I was operating the tractor beam, sir. I take responsibility.
Our arrival was the smoothest part of our journey. Your artistry with a tractor beam is commendable. We thought we were prepared for our arrival in Hotari space, but it is evident my craft was not sufficiently robust for such intense ionic activity.
This is not Leonard Nimoy, because he was definitely dead at this point.
There was an element that was most unusual. Before you came to our aid, our maneuvering thrusters and impulse engines were rendered inoperable. So we attempted a short traversal at warp speed, only to find that we could not achieve warp at all, even though our diagnostics computer showed no faults or anomalies. What do you make of that? When all indications say that warp speed is possible, but in practice, we find it is not.
Well, this storm is one of the strangest phenomena we've ever encountered. It's disrupted other systems. Who knows what it might do to a warp drive?
Sounds like
Yes.
probable
It seems
explanation.
Further investigation is called for.
Take readings, run some additional diagnostic checks, and we'll get to the bottom of this.
Quite logical. Petty Officer...
Carter Diaz. Sir.
What is with his nose rub?
Thank you.
Ambassador Spock,
Excuse me.
I'm honored to have you aboard. I'd like to get right to it. We're already behind.
I can say now it hasn't given me any more crap since that crash we had of the computer. And on top of that, I haven't lost a single frame when I did lose a couple when it was running at higher resolution. I think it was just pushing a little too hard.
Ambassador Spock, my senior staff. It's not every day that a captain gets to welcome a Starfleet legend aboard.
You flatter me, Captain Solano. But legend implies the past tense, whereas I am very much focused on our present circumstances.
I didn't mean to suggest you were stuck in the past. You're right, Ambassador. Not the most diplomatic choice of words.
You are a legend, Ambassador. There's not an officer in Starfleet that doesn't know of your career.
I would never assume that to be the case.
We were
Not
hoping you could
assume,
fill
but
us
yeah.
in on the details. We got the basics from Starfleet. Two formerly peaceful neighbors are now on the brink of war.
Indeed, and the tension between them grows fiercer by the hour.
Typity, typity, typey, extreme typing.
Lydia and Hotari. The Lydians are the more advanced species. They made first contact with the Hotari over a century ago. This is Tau, the Hotari moon. It is rich in dilithium, and for decades, the Hotari and the Illydians have shared a mining operation there. The Illydians provide the technological resources, while the Hotari have served as the labor force.
Yeah, it seems like
The
a
stability of
decent
that
trade.
arrangement was the source of their peace, until recently. The Hotari have suddenly and forcefully seized control of the mining operations and expelled the Illydians from their system. That is the official story, as told by the Hotari when they requested Federation mediation.
Okay, so they might be bullshitting us.
Communications between all parties have been limited by the ionic interference.
Have the Illydians retaliated against the Hotari? Or taken any action against them?
Surprisingly, they have not yet responded in kind. They were open to a Federation presence, but it is unlikely the relatively primitive Hotari forces would stand a chance against the Illydian fleet in open war.
They at least have space travel.
Left unchecked, this conflict will result in more bloodshed, which is what we are here to prevent.
And the dilithium trade hangs in the balance.
Clearly, the Hotari have been exploited in this relationship.
Kind of sounds like
Maybe we
it.
can persuade them peace is the more profitable alternative for everyone. They both profited from the mines. And for the Hotari, something is better than nothing. Peace is our objective, after all.
That is correct.
We can call it profitable or mutually beneficial, but at the end of the day, the Hotari are still being exploited for their own resources.
Sure seems like
Peace
exploitation.
is not merely the absence of war. And as such, this conflict will surely come again.
And that's what we're trying to resolve.
Neither the Illydians or the Hotari are members of the Federation, so we can't make them do anything.
There is an additional complicating factor I should mention.
Which is?
In the past, the Federation has relied on the Illydians as a source of dilithium.
Okay, so we've secretly been doing that.
Things. Federation sources its dilithium from a lot of places.
Yeah, and this is one of them.
So we've already played a part in this.
Unfortunately, that is indeed the case, Commander Rydek.
We're morally obligated. to make this right.
Yeah, we are. Absolutely.
Our only obligation is to negotiate the peaceful resolution of this conflict.
Given the Federation's involvement in the Iridium dilithium trade, Captain Solano and I must make every effort to appear neutral in these negotiations.
But are we, though?
What worries me is if this whole thing unravels and we're at the mercy of the storm at less than full strength.
We can't let it come to that.
Considering what the Ion Storm has done to our ship, and the Ambassador's shuttle, we have to assume the Ilidian fleet has had problems with it as well.
Not necessarily.
This recent surge in the energy disturbance temporarily levels the playing field.
Commander Westbrook is correct. The energy anomalies around the Hotari systems have been noted in the past. But they have never been observed on the orders of magnitude we have seen in recent weeks.
If it's keeping the two sides talking instead of shooting at each other, that actually helps us.
Yeah, I'm just enjoying the story of this game.
And we'll take advantage of that as long as it works in our favor.
And when it doesn't?
All the more
I guess it's... I don't get to talk about or watch or look at Star Trek games much. There's just not as much stuff for Star Trek games.
So I trust we understand our circumstances.
We're operating on a strict timetable here, and we're going to be leaving for the negotiations shortly. Commander Westbrook, I want you to leverage our systems to investigate the anomaly from here while we're gone.
Aye, Captain.
Thank you all.
Dismissed.
Yeah, I think...
I want to speak to both of you privately.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely want to look into a more powerful power supply for this computer.
I'd like to make a formal introduction. My first officer, Commander Jara Rydek.
Commander, as you are aware, there are limits to what Captain Solano and I can do in our official capacity as representatives of the Federation. But someone in an unofficial capacity, your first officer, for example, would not be bound by those restrictions.
You want to bend the rules,
Commander
don't you?
Rydek could ingratiate herself to certain parties behind the scenes, where they may be more candid in revealing information that could lead to a resolution.
She certainly goes her own way. Maybe that helps in this case. It would be unconventional, but I'm not opposed to it.
I'm honored to be included in the negotiation process.
You're not just included, you are instrumental.
This guy's doing a good Spock impersonation.
More luck finding out what really happened than we will through official diplomatic channels.
The fate of the negotiations, the interests of the Federation, and the prospect for peace may very well depend on it.
Like, this is a really good Leonard Nimoy impersonator. So we have her.
Mr. Diaz, I understand you have already discussed the warp drive failure with Ambassador Spock?
I have.
I have?
It is
When?
imperative that the Ambassador's shuttle be flight ready. I need you both to ascertain the root cause of the system failures he encountered.
I'm surprised, Commander. I thought you would have wanted to work on Ambassador Spock's shuttle yourself.
I respect the Ambassador and his many accomplishments, but I do not derive any satisfaction from interacting with his shuttle as if it were somehow transubstantiated through its association with him.
Is it not?
Especially when I have the entirety of this starship to concern myself with. I am not the chief engineer of this shuttlecraft.
Commander Chovak, is there anything you do enjoy?
I take pleasure in the satisfaction of a job well done.
Well, good.
I suggest you try it sometime. Make note of any abnormalities in your report. Carry on.
Is he 1 or 2 ranks above?
No, couldn't have been.
Felt like it.
It seems like he's warming up to us.
Yeah.
Even Chovak has to look at that face and know you've earned some real respect. And I have to admit that I owe you one. You were right to make me go first. I don't know what I was thinking. You did the smart thing.
You've pulled me out of trouble how many times? Call it even.
Okay. At the
So
very
is
least,
she a
maybe I can
joined
track down
trill
that
or just a
bottle of soy
regular
brandy you're
trill?
still on the hook for. But first, we have work to do.
All right, I'm curious about her. Does it mention? Well,
Ready to go?
that's mostly what I wanted to know.
Set. Let's run the
Doesn't mention
diagnostic.
anything about her. Oh no. He's got that wiggly arm that comes out of the middle of his chest again. Bonk. Oh no. No, no, I'm getting wiggly arm. Wiggly arm. I'm sorry, the controls of this are kind of hilariously janky.
Oh. I know about your talk with Miranda.
You do?
She sent me a Priority 1 dispatch right after your conversation. I'm happy for you. Both of you.
Thanks.
But I'm only going to tell you this once. Don't screw this up. Because I would be very unhappy if you tried this out and then, I don't know, 6 weeks or 6 days later, I have to start splitting holidays between the two of you. All because things went south and you're not on speaking terms. That just isn't gonna work for me. And I know you'll respect that.
Are you upset?
Not on your life, Diaz. But you need to be careful.
Careful how?
I like my friends and I like our group. I don't want to lose that. Is that thing done?
Yeah, it's wrapping up. Let's see. The relays along the primary EPS are blown, but the backup relays are all intact.
An EPS overload from the warp drive could cause that.
That would
How
work.
did the shuttle end up dead in the water?
Huh. Well, maybe the ship's data recorder can tell us something.
Unless it's been screwed with. I can finger wavies.
Here.
They were only about 8 minutes from their plotted warp point. No faults, just those warnings.
And what do they mean?
Subspace variance out of tolerance. What does that mean?
He
means
read
the
it for
main
me.
Navigation array lost sight of space somehow.
Will the array going offline cause that?
Yes, but it should have also thrown a fault code.
The warp field became inverted suddenly.
Inverted?
I've seen this happen when the center warp coil cracks.
A cracked warp coil throws a fault code.
Still, we should take a look.
Under normal operating conditions, the warp field generates on a plane parallel to the operating axis of the vessel. The warp field culminates from the warp pylons in a field pattern designated by the coil distribution. Aligned in a concentric spheroid pattern, a warp field inversion denotes a spheroid field pattern in a convex alignment to the operating axis of the vessel. Purposely generating an inverted warp field can counter subspace drag and instability along the space-time gradient. Warning, consult Starfleet Field Space Guideline 820, I think, .D4 before attempting a manual inversion of the warp generation system. That was kind of hard to read.
There was a complete warp cascade failure.
Wow. They're...
Sorry, just doing one quick thing.
lucky the shuttle didn't turn inside out.
There we go.
Makes me think the computer panicked on the warp field equation.
Any one of these failures should have thrown a fault.
If it was caused by a system failure.
None of this caused the relays to blow. Roll forward to when that happened.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, he called her ma'am. That's the correct way to address her.
So here, they take a moment to get their bearings and they attempt to re-engage the warp drive.
There. That's the relays blowing.
And look, there's another warp system alert.
All right, let's see what these errors are.
They're all the same. Subspace variance out of tolerance, or warp inversions. Finally, there's a complete warp cascade failure.
Then it's one of two things. Either a warp coil is cracked, or the navigation array is offline.
That makes sense.
Divide and conquer. You want to check the warp coils or the navigation array? I'll check the other. Let's not overcomplicate this. One of these systems is likely broken.
I feel the navigation.
I'll check the navigation array.
Your tricorder can record and analyze data. Looking through it will reveal the unseen. Use X to equip or host a tricorder trigger to scan glowing objects. You must be close to some objects to scan them. Watch the frame of the screen to see if you've gone too far away. Some objects you scan will activate a deep scan. During a deep scan, use LB and RB to switch between different scan modes and search for glowing objects. The mode indicators on the tricorder will blink if there's an object to find in that mode. When you have scanned all objects, the frame will change color. Hold LT to analyze the data and finish the scan. Okay. Isolinear circuits power the subspace array are functioning normally. Sensor subspace sensors. Shuttle subspace sensors are vulnerable to backscatter interference from other internal systems. Filters help attenuate such radiation and keep the sensor data clean. No physical damage detected.
Navigation array checks out, so it must be a coil.
Except it's not. Checked and double checked.
Well, the readings don't lie.
Here comes the security detail for the way team.
Who all we got? We got random red-haired girl that I do not remember the name of. I think Miranda?
Hey.
I'm not here.
We're escorting the negotiating team to the surface as soon as they come down from the bridge. I don't want to interrupt some important work. I was just hoping to see you before I go. The captain and the others will be here any minute now. Should be an interesting ride down to the surface.
Come on, I'm never too busy to make time for you.
What's with that like?
That's not true.
No. But I am glad you came
Okay,
by.
his facial animation's a little wonky.
I gotta be precise with you, huh?
Okay, what the fuck is with that? I gotta be surprised with that.
You're always hanging out with?
And you're the phaser jockeys we always beat in Parisi squares, right?
All aboard for Hotari.
That another one of the captain's railroad things?
Yeah.
I just usually zone out by the time he gets to the whole steam engines were the warp drives of their day part. Catch y'all later.
Swear I'm so
You don't want to miss your train.
weird recently. Like, kind of tired out of nowhere.